I'm recording. Are you recording?
I'm recording. Every time.
Hi, Kate.
Every time.
Every
I say,
time.
Are you recording?
Every
You go,
time.
I'm recording. Are you recording?
Yeah, exactly. That is our intro.
That is our intro. Why isn't that our intro?
It has been a couple times.
No, I feel like it's every time.
No, I know that's how we start every time, but there's been a couple episodes where you haven't cut it out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so that is how the episode starts.
I am inconsistent with
yeah.
where I want to start some of the time. Sometimes I like the little chatter that we do beforehand, and then sometimes it's no, just dive right in.
But I also think that the inconsistency just sits really well for us anyway. So
inconsistency.
Anyway,
listener.
Listener, I am Marty V. That is Kate Pryor, and this is Romance Writers Therapy. And you are listener. Hello. How are you, listener? Should we give them silence? So
I was just thinking, I was it's so
for
Dora the Explorer to just give them a second.
Exactly.
I'm fine, Marty. A little tired.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, me too, listener. Me too.
Oh God. So today is the November 2nd for us. It's probably gonna be the 9th when this comes out. So it is 2 days after Halloween and 2 days into Nano.
Yeah. Well, are you doing Nano?
I'm attempting and so far successfully doing the first 2 days of Nano.
Congratulations! That's awesome. Good for you.
Semi-successfully. I will redefine. Yesterday, I wrote maybe 1,000 words, and then I was like, it's fine if I come in just a little under what you're supposed to do for the word count every day. And then I looked it up and it was 1,600. I was like, okay, so I did 2/3 of what I'm supposed to do. And then I was like, all right, I could just make up another 600 words while I'm writing today. And then was like, oh my God, this is so difficult.
That's why I hate looking at word count.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not writing the story. I'm just dredging the sediment of my mind for another word. I got nothing. So
God, right?
I don't like looking at word count at all because it stresses me out and I'm not able to just write. I do better when I look at scenes, right? Okay, I want this scene done by tomorrow. I want this scene done, in the next 3 days sort of thing. Then I find myself blowing through chapters and the book gets written. But if I look at it as word count, I get very stressed and I can't remember any word I've ever known.
I don't love doing the word count thing, but at the same time, I have such a hard time feeling like I've tracked my progress in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a little bit of it is just the fact that everyone's so many people are doing Nano by the word count. So when you're not doing it by the word count, it feels very odd.
It really feels like you're appropriating the event, right?
Right. You're not really participating.
I don't belong here. Yeah, exactly.
And you've got everyone who's doing that. Oh, I already did 10,000 words. And you're like, go away. You're like, well, I've done just as much by finishing my chapter. I don't know.
Because I did that Summer Lovin' write-a-thon. And that was really great because I did need something just to kick me and get me going. And so that was really interesting because I was I had my spreadsheet where I was tracking word count. And it was really interesting to see kind of consistencies about how many words I could get done and not necessarily could get done, but averaged. Right?
All right. Yeah.
And so it was really informative. And I think I'm better suited for knowing how to do this in the future. Right? I know more about my writing through that process, but I did end up abandoning word count after that 8 weeks because I was like, this is still not the best way for my brain to function. So you're doing Nano. What are you doing it on? What project?
I was committed for a hot minute to do it on my werewolf project that I've told you so much about, and I've kind of got to
read chapters to me and everything.
Yeah. I'm kind of at a weird point with it because, like, I kind of want to, and, like, I never thought I would say this. I kind of want to rewrite the whole thing, but I'm like, ooh, no.
Well, because, like, I'm thinking of doing the same thing for, like, Banded Together, right?
Right.
And so, like, my mindset is, and well, I probably will pretty much end up rewriting the whole thing because I've grown, like, my prose have grown so much, right?
It's so weird how, like, you have a project that is so close to your heart, like, when you're so early on in your writing career, that you're like, I am just gonna put this on the shelf to, like, marinate for a few years, and then I'll come back to it, and like, I will have the ability to fix everything that's wrong in it, and then I can put it out there, and it'll be everything I wanted it to be. But then, like, by the time you get there, and then you look back at it, and you're like, oh no, it's terrible.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's definitely, like, an essence of things that are definitely right about it, right? Like, I think the tension is very deep, but, like, there's also, like, nuances of them, like, the way that they notice each other is, like, really nicely nuanced, and I remember that, right?
All right.
And I don't know if that's the way it actually is, or if that was just the best I had done it to that point. Well, and, like, my problem also becomes, like, anytime I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, you know, next year, then I've created a new writing project, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do it until I finish this project, right? Like I don't want to do it until I finish this series, but I'm going to pause on this series to write a Christmas novella for next year, because I don't want to get in the same situation where I'm at now, where I have such a tight timeline and my brain is so tired and I cannot rest. I mean, I have 3 books to write before I could get to it, but then I'm also like, you know what? That might be a great time for me to write my haunted house romance.
All of these books you're planning to write. Because that sounds
like such a fun story.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sounds like such a fun story. And, like, it might be a great time to deviate from, like, my series and write something completely different, just to, like, give my brain a little refreshing mode, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is why I've never gotten back to Banded Together, even though I really do love it and I really do want it to do things. It just needs a lot of help before it can do things.
See, I feel that way about, like, Handle with Claire. And the thing is, I do just kind of want to let go of it. I'm opening my mail. That's what the noise is, if you can hear. It's just like just regular bills stuff that I realized I had been putting off.
Yeah.
I'm a mess mentally today.
Yeah, I don't know, listener. I was hoping Kate would have the brain cell, because I do not. So.
It's on its way.
It's being expedited, but it's not going to be here tonight,
no.
So.
Usually we do this on a Tuesday. Oh, so this is not coming out on a...
But that was Halloween.
On the 7th, so 5 days. Okay. Yeah.
That's right. That is how
we
math
skipped
works.
Tuesday because it was Halloween, and so we did a different day.
Yeah. How was your Halloween? Did you have fun?
I had fun. What did I do?
You were on the call.
I read, like, 5 chapters straight of my weird little superhero story that, like, is my dessert project. Fun. But I was like, all right, so I'm reading this part. Forget it. I'm changing this part.
What do you mean, forget it?
I just kept being like, all right, you see this detail? It's gone. Forget it. And they'd be like, no, but it's good detail. I'm like, it's gone.
Okay, so you read that during... Okay, I understand. You said I read, like, 5 chapters, and I thought that you meant, like, you just sat down and read your own work. Like, I love that. So great. And then I realized, like, you read it to our critique partners.
Yes, our critique partners. We had fun.
Well, now I'm so disappointed that I, like, missed that reading, because I've been really interested in, like, what's happening with that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I mean, yes. Yes, you should feel guilt over this. Don't feel guilty. It's fine.
You'll get to see it, like, when it's got, like, a little bit of a better shape to it, because I do want to rebuild the world in it.
Dude, so cool. I'm so excited.
It's amazing to me how, like, that's become my dessert project, and, like, the werewolf thing has become, like,
your responsibility.
Big, terrible responsibility, and it's, like, absolute, like, and so... because both of those projects, I was looking at them like, oh, there's so much I want to overhaul, and it's Nano, and I could take Nano to just overhaul either of them or both of them, or I could start a whole new thing.
What did you do? Did you start a whole new thing?
I didn't start a whole new thing, but it is the next installment of my Claws and Cubicles series. I figured,
oh, okay,
you know, I might try to use Nano to like really lock in getting that done, because you know what, the Gargoyle book, I dragged my feet so much on it at like every opportunity, like not because it wasn't fun to write, but like, I don't know, I just kind of looked at it as like this project I had all the time in the world to finish, and then I just kept being like, I'll get to that later. And I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
It stressed me out so much at the last minute. Because, like, when the time it hit July, I was like, actually, I need to get my button gear.
Yeah, I kind of did the exact same thing between Hazel and Remy's books. Where, like, Hazel's book wasn't due until, like, August 1st to the anthology, right?
Yeah.
And I knew that, like, this book would be due December 1st, right?
Right.
And yet in like March, I wasn't like in gear writing Hazel and Elijah the way I really needed to. And I really didn't start like making it happen until that like write-a-thon, right? And then I had to overlap so much of writing that or editing that with writing Remy and Alicia that like my brain has just been like clicked into gear since like June, like intensely in gear, right?
All right, yeah.
And I am a person who needs downtime in my brain, right? Like I can work every single day, but I need it to not have a pressure point on it. After this call, I'm going to feel like I should get some editing done, but I really need to go to bed because I'm going to wake up early in the morning and do it then, right? And yeah, I'm just very much not impressed with past Marty and how she thought she had so much fucking time on her hands.
Be nice to her.
And like well, the worst thing is like she knew. Like she knew the way she is. And yet she was like, yeah, but I'm still just going to fucking chill. Like, oh, you did this to us both. Yeah. Anyway, my brain's real tired.
I'm sorry.
And it's okay. I just need to keep on going.
Okay.
And the thing is like I have a pretty clean edit done on the first 4 chapters, and they're like I'm doing that thing where I just write like 3 to 5 sentences on the sex scene and then move on to the editing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And, like, that sex scene's coming together really nicely. Like, honestly, it's fine. I'm okay.
That's good.
I'm feeling real pressured. So.
That's the best circumstances to write a good sex scene in.
Yes.
Real
exactly.
bad pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Where I've forgotten, like, I don't know, logistics. So. But yeah, no, it's okay. Everything's fine. Just doing the things. But okay, we actually had like a decent segue, and then I went on like a, rant about my brain.
We were gonna talk.
We had a decent segue into like our topic.
Yeah. Do you remember what the topic was?
Yeah. Kind of like business strategy stuff.
Yeah, like I think business strategy, like things that we've kind of picked up along the way of.
I love how, like, if I were listening and I was like, business strategy stuff, I'd be like, wow, you are the professional I'm here to listen to about this. I have nothing but trust in you.
Exactly. That's
true. That's true, listener.
But I think that's definitely the part of this whole, like, self-publishing process. Like, you really do have to, like, I remember making fun of so many business majors in college. Not like bullying.
Oh, the mighty have fallen.
Not bullying them to their face, but like, to our friends, amongst friends, we would like kind of look at the business majors and be like, Oh, those poor souls. Look at them. They have to like work so hard in college. They really truly have the hardest major of all.
That is hilarious.
And then like a minute like, oh, okay, yeah, no, all right, I see, thinking about it. Yeah, this stuff is hard.
Okay, so fuck, all thoughts gone.
All thoughts, head empty. That is perfect for where we're starting, because it resents.
Oh, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, because one of the things that I'm looking at is preparing for next year and like being more focused on how to grow my reach and grow because it feels weird to be like, but grow my income and like what strategies I'm doing to make that happen.
Right, because it feels like it's not enough to just continue to put books out and build your backlog. You do have to start thinking about
exactly
how you're gonna play things to your best advantage at some point.
Well, and like at this point, part of my strategy is still like putting out books.
No, absolutely.
And like doing the backlist. And I'd really like, I want this series to be fully published, next year.
Do we feel that's realistic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I did math. I'm sorry. I said I am hearing the way I say things tonight and it sounds so weird. I did math.
I did math on it. It's fine. No, I love you.
I
That's
crunched
fantastic.
the numbers.
No, I'm sorry. When I say I'm not trying to like make.
No, you're fine.
I was thinking back to last, or maybe even it was a couple years ago. You said to me like, I'm going to publish this book in May, and then I'm going to publish this book in June, and then this book in August.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had them all lined up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, that's so many books and that's so much. And like, do you know that you can put this out and just keep up this pace? And I don't remember I think at some point you did say you pushed something back. And so I'm kind of thinking like,
for sure.
With that memory in mind, like, does it feel realistic to you what you've planned?
It does. Well, for one thing, it really resembles like how much production and writing I've done this year.
Okay.
It's like essentially expecting the same amount of writing next year. And so that's good. Also like this feels so weird to say, but like I assessed essentially, and it's not like a perfect number, but essentially like how many hours go into like writing a book and like from like first word to finished product.
Yeah.
For me is like 150 to 200 hours.
Wow.
Like, and that seems so fucking fast, right?
Right.
But like, I only spend, 2 to 3 hours daily. And like sometimes, and like that's on average. I might spend 1 hour today, 0 hours tomorrow, but 3 hours the next day, right? Like, so yeah, I mean, it seems like such a short amount of time, but every time I assess it, I'm like, really? No, that's right. It's very weird. And like, that's even me like being like, there's no way it could be that few hours and cushioning more hours on. Like cushioning like 50 hours back onto it, right?
Right.
So like I was looking at my like how many I was vaguely doing this Sarah Cannon HB90 lady. If you guys don't know about her, she does a really great job of like helping people like really like assess and plan what they are actually capable of doing. And she has a YouTube channel that goes through things, but she also has like a website that you can sign up for her newsletter and get a bunch of free resources too. She's a very cool lady. But so like one of the things she says is like, don't plan without knowing how much time you actually have available.
Absolutely.
And so I did that. Yeah. Not counting any of the evening hours I end up doing. I mean, I solidly have time to do that and like all the other things. I'm definitely like making sure I have 200 hours of like slack because yeah, kids get sick, stuff like that. But yeah, it's totally feasible for me to produce these 2.5 books.
I love that you've got it down to like such a granular, like to me, that's so specific. And because I loved the idea of it. And like, also like, again,
it comes back to like, my brain is always telling me that I am not doing enough.
Absolutely.
My brain is 100% always telling me that I am behind and that I'm going to fail because I did not time manage well. Right?
Right.
And like in full honesty, I could time manage better, but also like when I let my brain check out by like scrolling TikTok or something, like a lot of times it comes up with the solution, right? So it's like, this is just kind of the way it is. But I've always wanted to do this because like it helps me see how I'm actually using my time. And then I couldn't figure out how I could actually calculate my time because like it's like, okay, yes, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, but I don't write every single morning. And some mornings I just let myself like read instead and like stuff like that, right? So, and then also like I might be at my desk at 6 a.m., but can my brain really think of words that early?
Well,
like she just got out of bed, right?
I mean, I think you can count all the time you spend kind of thinking and just kind of sitting as part of the process.
So I only counted like 3 hours of that like morning time out of 5 days.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So, right?
All right.
And then assessing like how long the kids are at school, how long we have a babysitter during the summer, like all that was so much more possible this year to plan for next year than it was for any year before because my life has been so inconsistent. And so it was really like such a relief to be able to do it. Like I really, really enjoyed that process. And I feel, even though I'm still like, there's no way it takes that few hours. It feels like it takes fucking forever. But it is like, essentially it is like 6 to 7 hours a week of actual like writing or editing because of all the other things I have to do, right? That's why it takes so long because I can't just sit down for, 40 hours in a week and bust it out.
Yeah, because it's got to be spread out.
And even if I had the time available to me to do that, my brain would not function to just sit and work for,
40 hours straight.
8-hour shifts. Yeah, no way. I would work for like 2 30-minute segments, go do something else for a while, and then I'd come back and do it again. Like that's how my brain works.
There's this thing
anyway
I did in college called the 24-hour play, which is that like you make a group of people and you enter in a contest and you have 24 hours from that moment to write, rehearse, produce, and put on a play.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
It is so intense. I'm not the sort of person who does like all-nighters. Like I used to regularly stay up till like 4 a.m., but like then I would sleep until like 2 p.m. because like that was just like I didn't have anywhere to be. So like I never did the whole stay up all night thing really. And when you're like actually working and not just kind of dicking around, it is so much all at once.
Those hours feel, yeah.
And like, I remember just like being so overwhelmed by the fact that I didn't know you could be so tired that it made you nauseous and that it made you unable to go to sleep. Like,
I can't, okay. So previous to having kids, I had gotten that tired, right?
Okay, yeah.
But like, not to like be a total downer, but dude,
yeah.
There is nothing more fucked up than having babies.
No, I believe it.
It is exhausting. And like, yeah, like so tired you can't sleep, nauseous, and you're still producing food for a human. Like, it is fucking wild. It is a wild experience.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It sounds torturous.
I mean, like, it's total torture. It really is. And like, but at the same time, like, you're like so in love and happy. It's the weirdest juxtaposition. Anyway, yes, you can be so tired that you are nauseous and hurt too bad to sleep.
Yeah, no, and it's wild, but like
fucking terrible.
And the thought of like, I don't know,
doing that again.
Makes me appreciate like all the moments between working on something.
Well, because like I kind of feel like having the experience of having been that tired just makes it so much more clear to me I never want to be that tired again.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? And like that's kind of the way I feel about my brain right now, where it's like I'm having this experience of my brain being so depleted and I'm still looking for more. that I never want to be this tired in my brain again. But like, I'm gonna make this commitment.
Okay, we should like actually get to the. We're 30 minutes in.
Yeah, poor listener.
You actually had a lot to say. You were like, I don't know how much I can contribute, but now you're like, you got everything.
I know. Okay, so Kate. Okay, so you were talking about like how to decide, and she was talking about this before we started recording, but like how to decide like free versus like doing a sale.
So I remember like in one episode, I definitely told you that like I had planned to do my monster romance book release, you know, in October, because that's when people are like, hey, let's read monster romance. This year, because I kind of went into it with that in mind, I kind of was looking a lot around me. And I don't know if it's this year specifically that it just feels like it, or if it's I'm just noticing it. There's it seems like everyone also had that idea, you know? And
okay, so I have thoughts. For one thing, monster romance has been a growing niche, right? And a lot of times with niches, people will realize like, oh, this is someplace where the market is hungry. And so they'll jump into it and they'll write some books there, right? We saw it happen with paranormal romance as well.
Yeah.
And so I think everyone had that idea, but I also think there are more people participating in the genre.
Absolutely. You know, I think like it's going to continue to grow, and eventually it's going to reach a saturation point.
Absolutely.
Who knows when that is, but
exactly. But then there'll be something else that people are jumping into.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But so like another thing that like was happening was that a bunch of people like just straight up out of the blue messaged me. Were like, hey, we're doing a sale with like this group of authors, and like we're all going to put it in our newsletters. Do you want to participate? And I was like, yeah. And then I ended up kind of a little bit over promising, like to like, cause when you use Amazon KDP, you can only put your books on sale like for a certain amount of days per period, you know?
Yeah.
And so then it was like, oh no, I can't actually promise to like be part of all these sales. I gotta like go back and be like, actually count me out on that one. Remember me for next time. Kind of like
exactly
thing. And then like just how easy it is to like overpromise and like not like, and because I had not been doing that kind of thinking myself
like, as an obstacle.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about like, because usually just whenever someone like approaches me and who's like, hey, do you want to be part of this sale with this group of authors? Because like that's the sort of thing I've participated in most when it comes, like I have not been setting up sales kind of on my own regularly. I just kind of do it whenever someone else kind of thinks to include me, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's something that no, if you got a better thought.
Well, okay, so right now my backlist consists of, I mean, the poor forgotten child of All Roads to Carter does also exist. I just never think of it. But at this point, my backlist is Truth or Dare and Just Fake Married, right?
Yeah.
So I decided that I would do, I'd break it into the quarters, right? So 3 months for the 4 quarters, right?
Right.
And I would pick Truth or Dare to run either a 99-cent or a free for 1 quarter. And then do the same thing for Just Fake Married. And if I did a free in the first quarter of, you know, Truth or Dare, I would then do a 99-cent sale in the 3rd quarter. Right?
Okay.
And I just kind of decided like that's how that would happen, right? So every 3 months or so, I will have a book on discount or free, right?
Right.
And then while like I'm planning those ahead so that I can join promos ahead of time, right? So I'm not like putting them up and then being like, crap, now I need to tell people about it. So like finding promos after I have decided like, okay, this is the week that it's going to be free. Joining those promos then, right?
Right.
Because like we were, again, discussing before the call, the whole point of doing these like 99 cents or free is to get people to download your book, and then hopefully they'll go back to the backlist and read more.
Yeah.
Right.
To be introduced to you as a writer.
Yes. And so that's kind of how I'm approaching like using that backlist more strategically. And then, you know, come middle of next year, I will have more books to do this more frequently. Because I was listening to Theodore Taylor on a podcast, and she has the book Seven Figure Fiction.
Okay, yeah.
And she talks about like universal fantasies and all that.
Yeah, I believe
but
you
she was talking
mentioned it
about
before.
how, oh, for sure, 100% I have. Everyone should read that book. But like she was talking about how she has such a giant backlist that every single week she has something like doing some sort of promotion.
That is,
and I'm like, that is so much.
Yeah.
Right? That's at least 26 books essentially, right? And I was like, that is such a good point that like you can reach into this backlist more effectively, especially if you're kind of planning it out.
Because like, you know, when you put your book out for free versus like put your book on sale for, I don't know, just any kind of discount.
99 cents or something.
Yeah, 99 cents is a popular option because like $1 for a book is pretty good. Something like, and I definitely am like absorbing most like anything I know just kind of from like either what little experience I'm finding or like what other people have told me, you know. And I think this is something you've told me at one point, that it was a better idea to put the first of the series, the first book of a series you do for free, and then the rest of it is books that go on sale.
Yeah. So like doing a perma-free, is that what you mean?
Not a perma-free, but that is an option, I guess. I just meant like it when you're doing a promotion.
Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense to me. Doing the perma-free is like introducing people to the world. Another person, I can't remember who it was or what podcast I was listening to. I want to say it was I Wish I'd Known. Anyway, they were talking about how they have their books, their series structure, like pricing structure, so that the first in series is perma-free. And then the next in series is like essentially half price of what the following series, like books in the series are, right? Just to encourage that read through. I thought that was really clever. But yeah, no, it makes sense to me that like if you're going to do a free book, doing it with the first book and then potentially having the next in series also on discount to lead them into it as well. If you're, because like personally, like I don't have a huge backlist, so I'm going to need at least a full series before I'm willing to do a perma-free. So yes, being strategic about bringing those promos together, right? But I probably wouldn't do it at the exact same time. I would probably do it like the first in series free 1 week and then the next in series, you know, at 99 cents the following week or something like that, right? So hopefully people have read their free book
by that time.
Yeah, exactly. This is something I've been thinking so deeply about that like I Kate, you want me to launch into my plan?
No, go for it. I love to listen to your plans because like I feel like I learn so much from you when you talk about them.
I also have that experience when you talk about like story and stuff like that. Okay, so my plan.
Okay, your plan. Big plan.
Yeah, is to get like the big focus is still building the backlist. I think next year maybe I can do one less book. Like not 2024, but 2025, maybe I can do one less book and focus more in marketing. But like also at that point, the kids will be a little bit more self-sustaining. So I might actually have a little bit more time to do those things. But so the focus is still strongly set in build the backlist. My first quarter, like little project, my plan is to do a book fair, not a book fair, a book drive for the kids' school. Ooh. So I'm kind of doing a pause on like expecting too much more out of me.
Okay.
That couple of months. The second and third quarter, I really want to focus on like understanding like Facebook ads and seeing if that's the right time for me to step into it, or if that's even like the avenue I want to go, because I really am committing myself to like, I don't want to do social media. I don't want to do it, right? So like focusing on my newsletter is still key. So maybe But then it goes back to social media because like I'm like, well, maybe I learn better on like how to write copy. And I heard this comparison on TikTok where someone was talking about writing copy for marketing, and they were saying how essentially you are emotionally manipulating people into thinking like this is what you want, right?
Right.
And man, I have such a hard time wrapping my mind around that, right? Because like I tend to be so like not super polarized in my feelings, and I don't want to polarize anyone else, right?
Right.
But then my fourth quarter, I'm deeply considering doing a Ream subscription. And like, I don't have a lot of readers, but also I think I'd have a couple people that would come on board. And I could really understand Ream or understand a subscription program before having a bunch of people to be beholden to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more flexibility to be able to like change things and move things around. I'm also simultaneously planning on recording at least one audiobook next year. And so like I have, when I think about like my quote unquote business plan, it is a lot of me doing and not a lot of me telling anyone about it. Right? So like I don't think it's an amazing plan for marketing. I think it's great for producing product. I still haven't tapped into exactly how I tell people, right?
Right.
And then I don't know. I always run into like, I've told you about this, where like, what sets me apart, right? Like, what is it that I produce that would make someone read me?
Yeah, carving out that niche.
I have the hardest time because like, if you asked me, Kate, what do you produce that like makes people read you? I can totally answer that question. But me, I'm like, is it because I don't have anything? Is it because I'm not special? It's like what happens in my brain. Like, I must not be able to answer this for myself because it's not there. Like, is like what happens in my brain. And then I'm also, again, just totally mentally depleted right now that I keep on coming back to that question while also not feeling great about my current process, right?
Right.
And so it's like, it's a really fun little snowball.
I think maybe it does get a little bit nebulous in especially the contemporary space.
And like, that's what I think is my biggest issue is like the contemporary space, it's hard to be a notifier, right?
Mm. Well, so like if I could name a bunch of like contemporary romance authors I like, I don't know that I could tell you that there's something like really distinctive about them that, you know, sets them apart from each other. But like I could tell you individual things that I like about specific books.
Well, and like, again, because we have had this conversation, listener. Poor Kate has heard this before. But like, again, like when I'm like not quite so like in a dead end in my brain, I'm like, okay, but like, who do you love to read?
Yeah.
Like, why do you love to read them? Like, and I can identify like, I do things like that. Right? It's just so weird. Anyway, we really did take a left turn. But yeah, so those are all the things I'm planning for my business next year. But again, I need to figure out how to be more effective about talking about it.
Talking about it is hard because writing is literally so much just like sitting around by yourself, doing things by yourself. And it's really hard to build a community out of that.
Well, and like, even when you build a community, like you and I aren't writing in the same genre.
Yeah. No.
Right? That your community still has like you might have your community around you, but like, do you feel comfortable being like, hey, can you tell people about this for me? Right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, like comfortable is, you know, one of those things that, brain. My brain is so bad right now. I'm so sorry that I'm just.
No, it's okay.
No good this episode.
It's okay. I was telling Andrew, I'm like, I gotta figure out something to do to wake me up because like I was already low energy in our last episode. I can't do it twice. And I would say I've compensated for my lack of energy by just never stopping talking.
No, you're good. You are carrying this episode and me on your back.
Don't worry, I'm strong. I got this. Oh my goodness. I don't know, what are your like strategic moves that you're thinking about?
Definitely.
You got any?
I like, this is like where I see that like I'm very clearly behind you, like in an area of like just how much I have not planned.
Well,
no,
okay,
you
but I
talking about
think,
how long it takes you to write a book, and I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. Like, as you were talking about that, I was like, let me look and see if I can figure out how old this like one Google Doc is. And I keep scrolling and I'm like, I bet it's only a couple of months. And then it's like, actually, this is at least a year old. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but like how many, but like for one thing, the way that you write in multiple projects would make it extra hard to like know that answer, right?
Right. But like, I
Like,
do want to
I
get
don't
to a
know how
point
you would.
where I can say, because something I know that I've done with my strategy so far has like, work on a project, don't really tell anybody about it until I'm confident that I can like put it out there, which, you know, is kind of not how people do it. And I realize it's not really a sustainable approach. It's just kind of what I'm comfortable with currently. I don't love being beholden to something that I know I can't deliver on, or unless I know I can deliver.
Roxy Noir has her next 2 books in her current series available for pre-order, but they're available for pre-order like a while out, right? And I don't know how far out you can schedule your pre-order. I mean, I've heard of people like, yeah, putting it out there, but they haven't even started the book yet. But man, I don't know.
That would
I don't know if
give
that would
me
just
too
turn
much
my
anxiety,
faucet right off.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I personally feel like I don't want to put it up for pre-order until, I mean, kind of copy editing.
Literally.
Right? Like until I'm like, well, I'm about to send this to proof. Like,
so someone posting on like threads like, indie authors, what are your 2024 releases? And I'm sitting here like, oh my god, who thinks that far ahead? But it's literally November. Someone's got to have a 2024 release planned. But I'm like, cannot fathom it because that's next year. I don't know what that looks like.
Well, but I also think that it really depends on, for one thing, like your natural like traits and how your brain works, right?
Yeah.
So like my brain is like literally constantly strategizing and planning. Like I don't consider myself a planner.
I mean, but you very much are.
I mean, it's wild though, because like if Andrew and I are going on vacation, we are the worst. Like we will just not schedule, like not book a hotel until like, we're about to get on the plane. We should probably have somewhere to sleep. Like it's almost that bad. Like literally a night or 2 ahead of like when we're leaving the frickin' house, right?
I guess.
Like,
but like I don't think that's like indicative of your overall, because like clearly you have planned things out and scheduled things out, and even though they move and you adjust for them and you have room to grow into, you know, newer plans.
It is the weirdest thing because I have just never thought of myself as a planner, but like what I do consider myself is a strategizer. Like I will strategize every single move I make. Right?
All right. Maybe that's the word you want to use then.
I think it has to be, because I don't consider myself planning. I consider myself like creating a strategy, right?
Right.
And it's like overwhelming for Andrew because I'll be like, okay, so in the next hour we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. And I'm like literally figuring out where everyone else is in the house is going to be in my head, so that like the most efficient use of like that person in that place could possibly be.
You play a lot of mahjong.
So, like,
that's right. I was like, do you play chess? No, you play mahjong.
I don't play chess. And it's funny because like if Andrew and I play chess, he's much better at it than I am. But I think if I like actually learned how, I would do better. I just essentially just know how the pieces move and that's it. But yeah, no, it just never, like my brain does this naturally. So like one of the things that your brain does naturally is it sees like essentially the like big picture of your story really well. Right? And so you can see all the pieces and move them where they have to be. And you can see like, oh, this place right here is not the right spot for this, or like this is a weak spot. I can't see that. Like even within the scene that I'm like currently working on, I'll be like, am I being effective in creating the arc of this scene? right? Very deeply have to go on intuition. And so like planning or, you know, creating a strategy for like what my business is going to do is something that like my brain just does. We just have different
I get that.
ways
And
that
I'm
our
just
brains work. Yeah.
trying to give you a compliment of you. I think you're really good at this. And, you know,
thank you.
Thinking about,
no,
but you're like,
back.
actually, let me describe to you your brain. I'm like, no, just leave it at your compliment.
God, I'm the worst.
I appreciate you highlighting my strengths. I would like to like let you keep shining on yours.
Thanks. I'm so uncomfortable.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But I still need to figure out how I'm going to show people my books. How am I going to get people to read them? That's what I haven't figured out yet.
There's reader groups. There's cons. There's newsletters. It's a slow. There is no just like show up and connect with people. You know, you have to like build your way there, and I think it's kind of agonizing and hard to like really keep your eye on the long game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it totally does, because like,
and you know what the thing,
and it's really hard
when you are building a community. I think what a lot of people kind of miss is that if you do community organizing in some way, if you provide a service to your community, that attracts people to you a lot faster. But then that also kind of puts you for life as the person who's going to perform the service for the community.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, it's so funny.
And I kind of feel like that's like what my plan is with like the subscription.
Yeah.
Right? Because like doing the early release model fits for me. I write chronologically anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no reason why I couldn't. And I'm just kind of thinking like the end of next year, just because then I'll have more books and more people having been exposed to those books, more releases, like all of that, right?
Right.
Because releases are great for like building, like bringing new people to you, right?
Absolutely.
I feel like I haven't really had that this whole year.
We haven't
and I think that that's part of the reason why I'm feeling discouraged.
Not anything, but like you had.
Well, I have my anthology
pieces,
out.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm feeling discouraged right now, is because I haven't had like that hype around like just my book. But I also am coming in on New Year's Eve, and that is Just Fake Married time.
Ooh.
So yeah, like pushing that back out. Anyway, you were gonna say something.
Oh,
what would you like to say?
No idea.
Okay.
It's just gone. It never coming back.
Yeah. No, I get that. I don't know.
I also don't know.
Keep on going. I feel like this episode is like so everywhere.
It is a little everywhere. I may just cut out the part where I said we were going to talk business strategy.
Yeah, probably should. We're going to talk.
Who knows what that was about?
Oh, man.
Oh, I think this was...
I don't know. Do you have a goal for next year?
For next year?
Yeah, like have you considered a goal?
I would like to put out another Claws and Cubicles book, but I would also like to put out a book for a different series, which is something I did not accomplish this year. This year, the goal was really just to put out another book for the Claws and Cubicles series, which is my Gargoyle book, and to participate in a couple of anthologies, which I did. And I did not flake on anything I committed to writing-wise.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Committing to the sales that I meant over-committing to those sales. Did flake on that. But I think you gotta give yourself a couple, what do you call them?
Like grace? Forgiveness?
That's the
Allowances?
word. It's like, it sounds Australian. It sounds like bungalow. Mulligans.
Oh, okay.
That's not it at all, but okay.
Sounds like bungalow.
I was like, there's a U in it.
um okay, also, like, we've been publishing since last year, but like we are still so new that we're having a lot of new experiences.
Yeah, no, and it's
right.
I love that we're documenting this experience of
Oh
stumbling
my gosh,
through
it's gonna
trying
be
to...
it is gonna be wild to listen back on this in a couple years.
Oh, I am not listening back. I don't. I can barely stand to listen to myself when I'm editing this. I'm not going back for fun.
Really? I always enjoy listening to us. It was really cute. One time we were on a break. This is gonna sound so narcissistic, listener. I swear it's not. But like I was re-listening to one of our episodes, right? And I was like, Andrew, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. Like, I'm re-listening to one of our episodes. And he's like, why is that embarrassing? You had a really good conversation with a friend and you get to re-listen to it. I'm like, oh, that's such a nice way to put it. Which is like, he gave it words as to like why it felt good to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because like you were busy, we weren't really chatting as much and like stuff like that. And it just felt very much like, oh, I get to relive this awesome conversation I had with my buddy.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Well,
yeah.
I do want to prepare listener for our little hiatus that we do.
Oh, we should.
At, varying points throughout the year. We try to do 25 episodes. I think we might still hit 25 with how this is going.
Mm-hmm.
It might be 24.
Yeah, we're doing our bestest.
Yeah, no, we're
doing our bestest.
Finding myself stretched thin, and so like, you know, straining for that finale.
Yeah. Well, and like our plan was to write something and share it.
Yeah, maybe I will just share part of my superhero thing with you because you haven't read that yet, and you can share whatever you want with me. And
I'll find something. I'll try to find something that I mean, anything I would be willing to read aloud on the podcast, like you have seen the beginning of. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. Don't discount though that my brain is not full of holes and I may have just forgotten it. It's been long enough.
I don't know. It's like if somebody reads something to me, it's all stuck there.
Yeah?
Like at 100%. Yeah. I remember so much. It's creepy. Like I'll have conversations with people and like I'll recall things that they don't remember telling me. Right? So and it's like nuanced things. Like things like about their mom's birthday, which was this date. And like I have it all retained, right? Wow. And so I have to pretend to not know everything that I know when I'm having conversations because I've realized it's really creepy.
Oh, I can't
tell people things they don't remember telling me.
Can I tell you? When I worked at a Dunkin' Donuts in my college years, there was a guy in my hometown who got the same order for him and his wife, like every time he came in, and it was a very distinct order. So I remembered the order and his face. And then like I just kept bumping into him at like various, like I would go to like Dairy Queen and then like he would be in front of me in line and then I would hear his order for that and I'd be like, I'm just collecting this guy's like various orders for him and his wife. Everywhere we go. I don't know his name, but I feel like I'm inadvertently stalking it. It was like terrible. I'm glad I don't live there anymore.
That is so funny. So funny. Well, and then it's even more like hilarious that like there is something about people only remembering you when you are in that setting.
Yeah.
Right? So like he would only recognize you behind the counter. Right? And so you knowing all this stuff, you are literally just a stranger on the street. You would have no reason. That's a really fun meet cute. Anyway. Okay. All right. Kate, do you have a piece of writing advice?
Oh, writing advice. Oh, writing because I am just like doing the nano thing.
That's fine. I would say my writing advice, if you can, actually put together how much
time,
know how much you actually write. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that
to know what to actually expect from yourself.
I love that
because man, I have overexpected from myself for a long time now. And I've just been wondering why I can't make it happen. And it's like, well, because that's not possible. Because, bitch, you can't. Like, that's crazy. Anyway, yeah. Listener, you can find me at martyv.com. You can sign up for my newsletter there. You can also find me on TikTok and Twitter at martyvauthor.com. Or nope, not .com. Don't put that in there.
Not .com.
At just martyvauthor. I think we have hit our limit here. Kate.
Yeah.
Kate, do you want to tell them where you're at?
I'm at by Kate Pryor on all the socials, and my website is kate-pryor.com. And you can find all my books and my newsletter and all the fun stuff there. That's it. Bye.
Bye, listener.
Bye, listener. Bye.
Bye, listener. Bye.